A shocking decision has been made in a federal appeals court in Washington, D.C., giving President Donald Trump's administration the green light to continue cutting off foreign aid grants, despite congressional approval. But here's where it gets controversial. The ruling essentially bars anyone outside of the legislative branch from suing the administration over changes to the federal budget. The decision, made by a 2-1 vote in the US D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, revolves around the Impoundment Control Act, a law that regulates the president's ability to delay or withhold funding already allocated by Congress. In this case, grant recipients were fighting for access to nearly $4 billion for global health initiatives, and over $6 billion for HIV/AIDS programs, which were earmarked by Congress to be dispersed by the State Department and the now-defunct USAID. The court's ruling empowers the Trump administration to refuse to spend budgeted money, making it significantly harder for outside entities without existing contracts with the federal government to challenge the president's decisions. This move has sparked outrage, with many arguing that it undermines Congress's power of the purse and will have devastating consequences for those relying on foreign aid. Circuit Judge Karen Henderson wrote in the opinion that the record is simply less developed on how long grantees would survive without access to foreign aid grants in the future. However, Lauren Bateman of Public Citizen Litigation Group, the lead attorney for some of the grantees, vowed to seek further review from the court, stating that countless people will suffer disease, starvation, and death from the administration's unconscionable decision to withhold life-saving aid from the world's most vulnerable people. The decision doesn't entirely eliminate legal challenges surrounding USAID, as some ongoing cases focus on the fulfillment of contracts rather than future budget allocations. The court noted that the federal government has paid substantially all of the amounts owed on existing contracts for work earlier this year. However, the ruling does establish that only the Comptroller General, part of the legislative branch, has the authority to sue the executive branch over alleged impoundment. Judge Henderson argued that it wouldn't make sense for Congress to create a complex scheme of inter-branch dialogue, only to provide a backdoor for citizen suits at any time and without notice to the Congress of the alleged violation. Judge Greg Katsas, a Trump appointee, sided with Henderson, while Judge Florence Pan, a Biden appointee, dissented, stating that the court's decision undermines the balance of powers and the ability to check the president's authority. Pan argued that the majority depart from the norms of impartial appellate review to announce a new and sweeping rule in the president's favor. The decision has been met with criticism, with Steve Vladek, CNN Supreme Court analyst and Georgetown law professor, calling the court's reasoning nonsensical. Vladek believes that the full D.C. Circuit will likely want to rehear the ruling, as it sets a dangerous precedent for the president's ability to make unilateral decisions on budget changes. So what do you think? Should the president have the power to unilaterally cut off foreign aid grants, despite congressional approval? Does this decision undermine the balance of powers and the ability to check the president's authority? Share your thoughts in the comments.